Greetings once again from my home here on West Craighill Drive on this November 24th, 2001. I wish, however, to depart from what has become our normal meditation, what with a Bible reading and prayers. Next Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent. Our meditations generally, from now on, will reflect that season as we move out of the Pentecost season now. However, tomorrow we will celebrate Thanksgiving Day. Now, as many of you already know, my ancestors arrived here on the Mayflower in 1620. My ninth great-grandfather, Thomas, died that first winter, but his son Joseph, who was a teenager at the time, would have been present at that first Thanksgiving celebration. My grandfather, Fred K. Rogers, brought us to Plymouth to help us, the children, to understand our ancestry. What was called Plymouth Plantation, that started in 1947, has been now updated and renamed Plymouth Pawtuxet to reflect the Pilgrims' relationship with the indigenous people of the 17th century, the Wampanoags, without whose help I doubt seriously that they would have survived at all. Now, more than 90% of American families celebrate Thanksgiving. The question remains, why does it continue to resonate? Feast that it is, the gift of Thanksgiving isn't really about the day's menu. The gift is gathering together with friends, family, and community to remember countless blessings. The gift itself is simply gratitude. As it is today, gratitude was woven into every aspect of Wampanoag life in the 17th century. According to the oral traditions of the tribal elders, giving thanks was the primary reason for ceremonies or celebrations. The richness of the land in the region around Pawtuxet, as we know now as Plymouth, was acknowledged by all people who lived on it. Indigenous people knew of certain times and seasons to collect berries, to gather plants for medicines, to hunt, and to fish. They also knew how to ensure that there would be food enough for the future of their people. One of those ways was the daily thanksgiving for the abundance given to them by their Creator for everyday life. So, by emphasizing gratitude for the Creator's gifts could not be taken for granted. Our English separatist ancestors were very deeply religious people, and not unlike their new founding Indian friends, they were thankful for all that God had given to them. To the colonists of New England, a date of Thanksgiving was properly a day of prayer and pious humiliation, thanking God for his providence, particularly for the good harvest that they had received. Although the American concept of Thanksgiving developed in the colonies of New England, its roots can be traced back to the other side of the Atlantic. Both the separatists who came over on the Mayflower and the Puritans who arrived soon thereafter up in Boston brought with them a tradition of providential holidays, days of fasting when things became difficult or pivotal, and days of feasting and celebration to thank God in times of plenty, like the harvest that they had just received. For hundreds of years before the Pilgrims came to America, then both native and European people gave thanks for their blessings. This gratitude practice is known in some form in virtually every culture throughout the world. The November Thanksgiving holiday reflects a gratitude tradition that transcends time and cultural borders, and plays an important role in today's American holiday. From one generation to the next, whether it is on the fourth Thursday in November or on some other seasonal basis, we pass on family traditions, favorite recipes, the wisdom of our ancestors, and the stories of treasured family heirlooms that we have. The first Thanksgiving in the fall of 1621 most likely began with the reading of a psalm from the Geneva Bible, which was the Bible our Pilgrim forebears used. It sounded something like this, and I am reading from the Geneva Bible itself. A psalm of praise. Sing ye loud unto the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyfulness. Know ye that even the Lord is God. He hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with praise, and into his courts with rejoicing. Praise him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth is from generation to generation. Now, despite the disagreements over the specific details, a 3-day event in Plymouth in the fall of 1621 was the historical birth of the American Thanksgiving holiday. Growing up in New England as a child, we were told a story from the teachers, etc., about the pilgrims who lived in Plymouth, how they established the Plymouth colony, how they related to our Native American brothers and sisters. That story may not have accurately reflected the facts as they took place back in 1621, and much has been written over those 400 years about what that Thanksgiving was actually like and what our ancestors actually did as our forefathers. One of the newer books that has been written is entitled Thanksgiving, the Pilgrim's First Year in America. Glenn Allen Chaney, the author of the book, has attempted to update for us how things actually happened back then, and I highly recommend reading his book. Facts are updated and put into context for us to give us a realistic understanding of the holidays that we will celebrate tomorrow. And he suggests that before you gather to partake of your Thanksgiving meal, excuse me, you read slowly part of his chapter 5 that he entitled The People. And I have asked his permission to use it as part of our meditation for today. Perhaps you will want to share it with your family tomorrow. I quote from the book the part of the chapter that he actually reads to his family before they partake of their Thanksgiving meal. And it reads like this. So the Mayflower contained a cross-section of values that would become quintessentially American. The insistence on following the heart rather than the law, the inability to tolerate injustice, the audacity to demand authority over authorities, the courage to pursue happiness, no matter how miserable it might make them, and to seek a better life, no matter how much worse it might be, the wisdom of working together as a society for mutual benefit and for personal profit. They believed in the power of the congregation. They would do their own thinking, and their own decisions. They would pray their own prayers. They would dig in their heels. The strong would bury the weak, and perhaps suffer a moment of doubt. Then remember the mercy of their God, and then get back to work. And that closes the quote. That concludes our meditation for this week as we prepare for our Thanksgiving meals. Our Bible study is on hold over the Thanksgiving time, but will continue next week as we continue working in the book of Luke. And as I have continued to say all along, feel free to join us on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock for fellowship, and join us in the sanctuary at noon for worship. Next Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. God bless you, and I will see you again next week.